Hi, everyone, and welcome to Stretching Your Dollar. I'm Kristen Scholer here at the New York Stock Exchange. And during this half hour, we're going to give you everyday tips to help make the most of your money, how to stretch your dollar. So we'll cover important topics like how to negotiate better, how to manage your money, and how to save for the things that you want so you have a little extra spending power at the end of the month. Well, on today's show, we are celebrating National 401k Day, and so we've got your everything you need to know all show long about the difference between a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k. So we'll be covering that. Plus, the United Auto Workers strike is looming, and we'll have updates on that news story, plus which retail chain is actually cutting worker pay. But first, we start with our favorite part of the show, hearing directly from our viewers. So we asked on LinkedIn, I hope you're following us and me on LinkedIn, but we asked, do you have any questions about your 401k? 16% said yes, 54% said no, 21% said, I don't know much about it, and 9% said, I want to know more. So we also got some great questions in our comments, and we're going to have the answers to those. I'm going to pose them to our expert here shortly. Well, many of us have a 401k, but still have questions like, how do you maximize it? And do you know about the changes that could impact your 401k? Tammy Trenta, who's the founder and CEO of Family Financial, joins me now to help us understand. Tammy, to start, one of our viewers on LinkedIn asked, what is a 401k?
Okay, well, a 401k is a retirement plan. And I think we best know 401ks as an option that our employer offers, and it gives us an opportunity to save for retirement. So in its purest form, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Another viewer wanted to know, how do I plan for the whole 401k experience? What would you tell them?
The first thing I would do if you are new to a 401k is really understand it and try to reframe your mindset, especially if you are younger. So what I mean by that is you might go into a meeting to learn about the 401k and find out you can't touch your money till you're 59. And that might be discouraging, especially now with inflation where people are essentially living paycheck to paycheck. But it's so important to start early and contribute often. And it's such a phenomenal benefit that employers offer. So I would keep an open mind, and no matter how much, just do as much as you can.
Mm-hmm. What are the changes, Tammy, that might be on the horizon that could impact someone's 401k?
Well, there's a few changes that I think are meaningful. One applies to those who have student loans, and another applies to those who are high income earners. So for people who have student loans, there is a new provision based on the Secure Act that was passed at the end of last year that allows employers to make what we call a matching contribution for student loan payments. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't know a whole lot about that right now. The legislation got pushed to 2025, and I would suspect that the IRS will issue some guidance on it as it gets its head around what the politicians have put forth.
Yeah.
So that's an exciting option. The other option is, which I don't think is great, the high income earners. So anyone over 145,000 in salary will only be able to do a Roth contribution for their catch up if they are over 50. Yeah. So if you're over 50 years old, you're trying to catch up, you're high income earners, so you value the deduction, and the IRS is saying, well, we want our money today. Okay. We want our $10 today.
Well, let's talk about the limit, right? There is an annual limit, and I know that was on our full screen too, as to how much you can contribute, and certainly if your employer is contributing, this is something that you want to calculate too. I think the most recent contribution limit was $23,000 for that full screen. Why is there a limit?
So the reason why there is a limit on the 401k is because this money is not taxed immediately. So it's deferred tax revenue that the country doesn't get to spend money on what they need today.
Good advice. Good insight there. So do you think that people, Tammy, should try to max out their contribution to their 401k on an annual basis?
I do, to the extent it is possible. Everyone's got their own financial circumstances. To me, it's such a phenomenal opportunity. And if you have the money to do it, you should absolutely do it. And what's better is if your employer actually offers you some sort of match for contributing. I mean, that's essentially free money. So I I think if you are just starting off, you should definitely contribute to the 401k, and it should just be a set it and forget it, not even think about it going out of your budget. And if you're older, you definitely want to try to put as much as you can in, because every 5 years that you delay savings, you're going to have to double to get to that same end point.
What is something you think people should know about their 401ks that they might not know?
So, over the past few years, 401ks have sort of gotten some bad press. And particularly, it was about fees that employers were charging and the mutual fund companies were charging. And oftentimes, those fees, the majority of them are absorbed by the employer, but not always. And so now there's disclosures that are required. The other thing that is important to know is that if you join a company, they want you to stay with them for a while. And so any sort of matching contribution that they provide is usually subject to a vesting schedule. And that could be anywhere from 3 years to 5 years. So you want to make sure if you're leaving your employer that you know how much of your 401k are actually vested in.
I see. Is a 401k enough money, Tammy, for most people to retire on?
That's a great question. I think a 401k can be a significant part of retirement savings, but I don't think it is in itself sufficient. Now, we do have Social Security today, but who knows what that will look like in the future, especially for younger people. So I wouldn't rely on Social Security, and I wouldn't solely rely on a 401k. I think you've got to look at what your spending level is, see if the 401k is enough, and if not, add to that when possible through personal savings account or an investment account of some sort.
All right, Tammy Trenta. Tammy, thank you.